It's us again.
So apparently I need to be shouting because nobody can hear me in the first video. So here we are driving through New Jersey farmland. We're leaving Parsippany, New Jersey, where we had attended this Weekend to Remember conference, which has been a great blessing. The theme was oneness. What was the whole theme? Something about oneness.
Yeah, it was oneness. Oneness was the big idea.
Yeah. So, would you like to start?
Yeah, so on our last video, we had discussed our hopes and our anticipations for this weekend and what we hope to get from the program. I know I had talked about I really was looking to be a better communicator. I was looking to improve or better our communication, and Asa was kind of going with...
Yeah, just going with an open mind. Just, I knew that I wanted to be a stronger husband, and I wanted us to be a stronger union. So, seems like a good way to get some, instruction, some tools, some ideas on how to just approach some of the difficulties of marriage.
Yeah. So I guess I can ask the question, how was it then? What do you feel equipped with those tools, huh? Do you feel equipped with those tools that you were seeking? Was your objective met?
Yeah, definitely. It was had some good interactiveness because they gave us a whole book that had information on all the sessions, and it's like even it's fill in the blanks to make sure you weren't sleeping.
Yeah, it was really interactive. I'm grateful for that.
Things that they called make it personal. So after they would review, whether it was different threats to marriage or different challenges to communication, just kind of reflect on how these things manifested in your own marriage, the personality types or issues and projects that were kind of like take home ways to interact with your spouse, reflect on these things. Yeah. So it was a lot of material that it's good to go over because I think key is like fostering discussion because we both have things that are going on in our heads that are unsaid because either we don't realize we're struggling with something in this way, or we haven't processed it that way, or we just don't have the tools to have a meaningful conversation around some issues. So I think that's important. It's not just what we do there, but what we can take home and continue to build upon.
Can you give like an example then of like a tool or a particular objective and like a tool that you're kind of what you're going forward, what you're committed to?
Yes, I can. Grandchildren. I guess one, and I'm sure this is the one that you liked, just like communication. So they had a whole section on effective communication and how it's both, effective listening. I don't remember the exact term, but like listening in a way that's like really listening, and then also knowing how to express yourself in a way that is helpful. So they even listed, I remember they had like 4 ways to. This lane's closed. They had 4 ways to listen better, and it was all just like focused attention and making sure, seeking to understand, stuff like that. And on the flip side, okay, easy pass. On the flip side,
we're going to 83. 202 south to get to 2.
not going to New York.
No.
How to express yourself while, in truth, realizing whether you even need to say what you want to say or not. And in terms of projects, what was that first project that we did?
The first project was sort of going over the second project, but there was a separate part, and then there was the interaction part, right?
Yeah.
The separate part was just kind of going over, I guess, things. How would you say your spouse, what they might say about you, and then what would you say?
Yeah.
Something like like that about the way that you communicate, and then things that they like about whether you listen well. It was about communication. Are you listening? You expressing your feelings well?
Yeah.
Are you saying something in love? Are you, they have like a bunch of things like that.
So a lot of those, like I said, they make it personal. I think I want to continue reviewing those because we didn't get a chance to review many of those. That's a good way to see where we stand on certain issues, and even did we agree? Did we answer similarly? Do we agree with each other's answers? So yeah. Prothonotary, you see that? Strunk for prothonotary.
Where are you looking?
This sign right here. Oh, you missed it. Alright.
But yeah, I would say for me, so my objective was that he likes Wawa anymore. My objective was improving communication, and that first night, like, that was kind of like the main thing they focused on. Though actually the two what I would say topics, or bigger topics that we focused on for that night when we first got to that Friday night, where first one was on the 5 main threats on a marriage, and then the second one was communication, essentially. And man, I was just very in love with this program. We had the workbook, you could fill stuff out. I was like yes.
He out here working.
Hey, out here in school and everything. Let me learn something.
Sit in the front of the class.
Let me learn something or two, So, so yeah, like, I really appreciated that first night, the first lecture, and yeah. There was, I guess, the main thing that stood out to me. I wrote something down, and it was like action item, and that was on communication, and it was on listening and expressing well. And I had kind of picked 2 things on there that I wanted to kind of focus on. And one was to listen to with wisdom, appreciation, and understanding. And then on the expressing side was to express myself in a way that encourages. So to kind of focus on those 2 and be like, let me try to do those. And there was a part of this program, and this is not just Friday night, I believe this is actually Saturday, where we had to specifically, is my hair in my way? We had to specifically write a love letter to our spouses, but the way that they had it was organized, in the sense it was what's the word I'm looking for? Prompted is the word I'm looking for. They had asked questions, and then the answer to those questions would be in your love letter. So yeah, I really appreciated it because it really got me just focusing on our relationship, the prep for it. At least they had some questions that were prepping for it that weren't necessarily in a love letter, and the prep for it just got me really focused on our relationship, the timing, the things that have happened in our relationship, the length of our relationship, and how that has affected us in our marriage, and just the ways that we've grown since marriage, and just learning that. And man, even that night, I think that night when we got back, Asa and I even had a fight. Wasn't that night? Yeah. And it was just, it really helped me to kind of write those things down and be like, I'm committed to speaking or listening to understand, and with appreciation and with understanding, with wisdom, and then to speak to encourage. It really helped me in that fight, because I was like, didn't you just say you would do this, And it's like, I'm writing. I know for me, when I write something and I, writing and seeing and thinking, it really helps me remember. And that's how I went through school, man. I had to write my notes, rewrite them, and understand, read and rewriting, and that helps me understand. And I remember what I wrote because I can see it, I can visualize it. So it's kind of was like, man, girl, yes, your husband might be acting a hot fool right now, but don't matter. You know what I mean? Like
just a regular fool, but a
hot mess plus a fool. Yeah, I know. So it's a hot fool, and I was like, it don't matter, because that's not who he is, and try to understand where try to understand where he's coming from, what's going on in his, you can't read his mind obviously, but try to flesh it out. And it really is the grace of God to just kind of be like, all right, I'm not too happy with him, I don't feel too loved, but that doesn't define us. And
so she was showing me a lot of grace that I did not deserve. So good to me.
So I really am grateful. And then in that letter, just the second day on Saturday, they had us, to just write some things that you wanted to commit to, and I had committed to praying, really fighting for our marriage spiritually, in prayer, and trusting in God, that to commit to not treating us out based off of just his flaws in our situation, or just life, and just to treat him as an image bearer, as a son of God, and as my husband, essentially. So yeah, just pray for us. That's how I always end this. Even if you're in the future, you can still pray for us. But babe, okay. I thought I was looking at the camera and I'll let you know. I was like, oh, we're about to hit a car in front of us. But yeah, so that's the gist of it.
Yeah, it was definitely good. If they still have this weekend to remember when you're watching this,
you should go.
Yeah, hopefully we'll be able to even take you. Actually, yeah, it's possible that we have adult married grandchildren while we're still alive, right? Especially with advances in science, that might be increasing lifespans.
It is possible, I guess.
In case we're no longer.
And if you can't afford to, ask us or your parents to pay for you. Okay? Yes. And hopefully we would have raised kids that would have an open channel relationship with their children, which I pray God help us that we have with our children. But yeah, any final words before we get back on our journey? All right, y'all. Peace.